I want you to
Hey,
say
T
no to the king.
Sippers.
We call them oppressors. And I want you to help us to free the land, to free the people, and free us all, and free DC. Free DC! Free DC! Free DC! Free DC!
All right, my name is Taya Chatterjee. Thank you so much, Nene. I am with Nene, one of the co-founders of Free DC and the executive director of Free DC. And we are the movement to protect DC home rule and win lasting dignity for the 700,000 people of DC.
Hey, afternoon.
Are trying to pass dozens of bills, more than 24 budget riders that take away basic rights.
Hold on, here we come.
Exactly. We won't let him. We know better than that. We know better than that. We know what to do, right? We know what to do. The people of DC are joyful. If you could see what I see right now, you would see an amazing crowd all the way back to the White House full of joy. The people of DC are powerful. We
I
are
know he
going to
mad.
use that power. We have what it takes here in DC, not just to resist this tyrant, but to actually take him out of power and win. And I want to say, I'm not just talking about voting. I'm not just talking about attending rallies. I'm talking about organizing now like our lives depend on it. When we act collectively, if you could see the number of people here, plus think of all the people in all the other cities. When we act collectively, we have so much more power than we realize. We have way more power than they do. We have power as workers. Who here is in a union? If you're not in a union, get in a union. Talk to your coworkers about collective action. We have power as consumers. We can choose to either fuel the companies that are profiting off of our oppression, or we can starve those companies.
I agree.
We have power as
Stop putting
jurors.
money into them.
We have seen that these indictments they are trying to get, they
Stop
are
putting
failing,
money into
right?
them.
Our people understand the assignment. We see that this administration
Spend your money wisely.
We have power as taxpayers. We are all right now collectively funding this regime, and we have the power to slow that down, right? We know what's on our
money is paying
paying
him, and he is being mean and trifling and hateful to
and
us.
we have power as community members. We can engage in
How
our
dare
sacred
him
duty to protect one another, to support one another in
use our
solidarity,
the taxpayers' money against them. Where they do that at?
If those are things that you want to be a part of and you aren't already, come find the Free DC action tents. They're over to the right. I know it's like so crowded you can't even see where I'm waving here, but they're in John Marshall Park over to the right, and you can join the effort.
ICE is the 2025 KKK.
What we have seen over the last 10 months is that every single time they attack us, if we respond, we grow stronger. Every time they attack us, we grow more united, we grow our people, and we grow our resolve, and we learn what it takes to take them down. We're building unity, we're building power, and we are going to demand full power over our local money, our DC National Guard, our local laws, and ultimately, yes, we will be admitted as the 51st state of the United States of America. It is not going to be Canada. It's not going to be Greenland. It's going to be DC. And our entire national democracy will always be at risk until that happens, until we actually protect the capital of this country. And that means that everyone across this country needs a free DC. From Ward 1 to Ward 8, from Los Angeles to Chicago, from Memphis to Portland, we are more united now than we have ever been. We are united united against deploying the military against our people. We are united against attacks on our democracy, and we are united against this agenda of cruelty that we are seeing unfold before our eyes. Together,
Vistaprint prints everything to get your brand in front of your fans, like t-shirts, water bottles, and totes, so everyone can gift it, work in it, and take it. Whether it's one of a kind or one for your whole team, if you need it, we print it with 20% off for new customers at Vistaprint.com.
Washington, D.C., please welcome to the stage Leah Greenberg and Ezra Levin, co-founders of Indivisible.
hi everyone, it's great to be here with you today. I'm Leah,
Hey, I'm Leah's husband.
and we are the co-founders of Indivisible. We support a movement of thousands of local indivisible groups organizing in every state of the country. These are regular people who understand that saving our democracy is too important to be left to the politicians, and it's going to take all of us.
Especially the
Don't
crooked
compromise
ones.
quality.
This train moving, this train of freedom, this train to justice. We've got someone who is the leader of justice. It didn't work. So, that's a good point. Hold on. I like that. I said she was the leader of justice. You said she's not the leader of justice. That's what you said. I like that. So here's what we do. This is the person who is accountable to the leaders of justice. The person who is accountable for holding people accountable for civil rights violations, for holding people accountable for breaking laws, for holding governmental agencies accountable. She has an amazing story of overcoming hardship, but more importantly, in spite of the hardship she's overcome, she has strived, she has served people, she has created change in her community, in this city, in this commonwealth. Let's give it up for the first black woman elected to statewide office, our Attorney General, Andrea Joy Campbell.
Thank you to my dear friend Rasan Hall. God bless you. Thank you to the organizers, all of the organizations and the people who came together to make today happen. Don't worry, I see you, but you're not going to you're not going to outnoise us or like that. We're with you. We're with you. Thank you, most importantly, to each and every one of you, and I see you way in the back, for being here, standing up for justice, for love, for accountability, for transparency, for democracy, and most importantly, for our children. We are here to send a message. In America, we don't have kings. We have the people. So let me hear you. Who runs this country? Let me hear you. Who runs this country? I am so proud to be your Attorney General. Even prouder to stand with each and every one of you who refuses to be silent. President Trump and the federal government are coming for our rights, for our freedoms, for our economic future. We have filed nearly 40 lawsuits against this administration. And nearly 40 times we have looked them in the eyes and said, not on our watch. They came for $3.18 billion in Massachusetts investments, and we protected $3.01 billion in Massachusetts investments. They came for our public schools, and we protected more than $200 They came for our public health, and we protected nearly $170 million. They came for birthright citizenship, and we stood our ground, and we're winning that too. And they will keep on coming, and we will keep on fighting. And if they want to come from Massachusetts, I say this: bring it on. It won't be the first time we stood up against tyranny in this state. We may be a small state, but we punch above our weight. I frequently say, I don't know about you, but I feel like Muhammad Ali. We've got the strength of thousands of people here today. Thousands and thousands more all across the Commonwealth. And you should know that when we organize, when we march, when we vote, we win. And let me be clear, this isn't just about being your Attorney General. This is about all of us. The people showing up, speaking out, filing your own lawsuits, protecting yourselves, standing up for your people, staying informed. And let me actually say a reminder, if you're not following what your AG is doing on social media, we'll start following us on social media at MassAGO. Stay informed on what we're doing on your behalf. And then let me be clear. Each of us is doing our part, and it is enough. Don't let anyone tell you that what you're doing individually is not enough. It is enough, and you are enough. It will take a collective effort to win this fight. No one person can do it by themselves. And let me also be crystal clear on...
I've been thinking a lot about space lately, specifically this space out back, and how I can turn it from this into something amazing.
Your first month's rent is just $1. Public storage.
Right now, when you download the Hardee's app and join My Rewards, say good morning to 20% off any breakfast order of $10 or more. Wake up to the fluffy omelet biscuit or a home-style loaded burrito and save. That's goodness in Hardee's country.
Years old. I share my story not because it's a black person's story or a poor person's story. It's an American story. I know what it feels like to suffer loss. I know what it feels like to suffer deep pain. I know what it feels like to struggle. I know what no accountability looks like. I know what no justice looks like. And let me be clear on this. I also know what faith looks like. I have deep faith not only in the God I serve and the Jesus I serve, but most importantly, I have faith in all of you. I have faith in our people. I have faith that if we stand up and rely on each other and believe in one another, we will win. And lastly, I have absolutely no fear. As your Attorney General, I will keep fighting on your behalf, standing up every single day, unapologetic and fearless, because that's what it's going to take. This is our time, our people. This is our time for leadership. This is our time for action. This is our time for our children and the generations to come. And in Massachusetts, we don't back down. We are just getting started. Thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Give it up for our Attorney General. Andrea Joy Campbell. Let me hear you say resist. Resist tyranny. Resist. Resist fascism. Resist. Resist authoritarianism. Resist. Resist transphobia. Resist. Resist homophobia. Resist. Resist anti-blackness. Resist. Resist xenophobia. Resist. Resist anti-Semitism. Resist. Resist corporate greed capitalism that is on steroids. Resist! 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 No kings resist. Fight for democracy. No kings. Kicking out kings since 1776. This is what democracy looks like. No sign is big enough to list all the reasons I'm here. We can be heroes just for one day. Now I'm gonna say we need to be heroes more than just one day. We need to be heroes tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after, and the day after. Because here's the thing, this doesn't stop. Oppression doesn't stop. Racism doesn't stop. Hatred doesn't stop. Genocide doesn't stop unless we stand up. Unless we fight back. Unless we raise our voices. Unless we push against the machine. That's what we're here to do. Make sure you see the resource booths so you can get information, so you can get involved, so you can get engaged, so you can get active. Because the people, united, will never be defeated. 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 Welcome to the stage, Rosie and the Resistors.
The resistor who leads us. She is a resistor named after other famous resistors. Rosie the resistor is my little red protest accordion. Rosie is named after Rosa Parks, who resisted racism and refused to go to the back of the bus. She's named after Rosalind Franklin, who resisted sexism, who resisted anti-Semitism to discover the structure of DNA. She's named after Rosie the Riveter, that symbol of equality of women in the workplace, if not superiority in the workplace and beyond. And she's named after Rosa Luxemburg, who spoke truth to power more than a century ago. This is Rosie, and we all are the resistors. 250 years ago, the people of Boston came together here, and together they said, what did they say? They said, no kids. That was just okay. Okay, we can do better. They need to hear us in Washington, D.C. They need to hear us in Mar-a-Lago. So what do the people of Boston say? We say, okay. That's more like it. Okay, we're going to sing just a couple songs affirming our love for our country. We're going to sing a song, America the Beautiful. And sing along. You all know this.
Majesty. What key she in? Grace on me, and crown my good name. Thank you, Janet. Peaceful, and Trump wants to bomb because his feelings are hurt. Oh, yeah. course. They had a, ooh, I don't know what key she in.
Their names erased from the rolls of the country they serve. These are people who have led troops in combat, who have saved lives under fire, and now they're being told that they're unfit to serve. Not because they failed, but because America
Erupt in D.C. Massive protest erupt against Trump at Lincoln
We didn't
Memorial.
get here overnight. We got here because for years, so many people looked away. Because when trans kids were banned from sports, people said it's just sports.
Okay, hold on. So, something happened in D.C. Hold on. I'll share His grace on me and crown thy good with brotherhood. Something happened in D.C.
When they come for our bodies, it's a test.
Yep.
When no one stopped them, they came for women, for immigrants, for teachers, for journalists, for all dissenters.
Oh, they won't let
And
me
now
go
they're coming
back.
for democracy itself. The cost of indifference is tyranny.
Okay, I thought it was going to let me go back. It's not letting me go back. Hold on.
When they attack trans rights, they attack bodily autonomy. When they attack
They want
attack
somebody
the promise
to
of
act
freedom.
a fool
When they
and
attack workers, they attack human dignity. When they attack education, they
hold
attack
on.
truth itself.
They want you to
It's
act a
all
fool.
one fight, one system of control, one sickness that feeds on division. But fascism fears solidarity. It fears the sight of trans.
Yeah, let's go to the okay, and they don't have volume. Cause he said he gonna drop missiles in California. Do they not have any volume? But it's massive. They want a reason. They said, give me a reason. Hold on, I'm trying to. They don't have volume on this one. But it's San Diego. King's protest in San Diego and Chula Vista ahead of J.D. Vance's White House event at Camp Pendleton. Let me see. Why they don't have no volume? So I guess it's just in the air. Hold on, y'all. Get out there. Who is? Let's see his speech. If I can't find a good one, I'm gonna go into my regular guys.
We are cutting into programming here on WFAA Plus, bringing you an update on two big stories we're covering here in North Texas. They're on one side of your screen. You're looking at a live look in Plano, where many have gathered for a No Kings protest there. And on the other side of your screen, we're taking a look out at the UNT campus because we are monitoring storms in our area throughout the afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm Morgan Young, and I'm joined by senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez. We are covering No Kings protests today here in North Texas, and we were here back in June for the first round of these.
Yes, I was out there at the Dallas one, and I was just amazed at how large it got. I think at the beginning they were only estimating about 3,000, and I would say there were 15,000 people out.
And takes away money from states who voted against him.
Unlawful.
It is in danger when we have a president who demands that states redraw congressional maps to ensure that his chosen candidates win
It's unlawful.
future elections. It is in danger when we have a president who illegally fires tens of thousands of federal employees right here in Washington, D.C. and throughout our country, and rips up union contracts that workers have fought for and won. It is in danger when we have
It's a danger. I agree.
who grossly violates the Constitution by accepting gifts from foreign leaders,
Facts.
including a $400 million plane from the royal family of Qatar, and then allows that family to build an Air Force facility in Idaho.
That he said was terrorists.
Let us be clear.
He said were terrorists.
This moment is not just about one man's greed, one man's corruption, or one man's contempt for the Constitution. This is about a handful of the wealthiest people on earth
That are in the Epstein files.
insatiable greed have hijacked our economy and our political system in order to enrich themselves at the expense of working families throughout this country. Yes, yeah, I am talking about Elon Musk,
Name them.
Jeff Bezos,
Put a name on.
Zuckerberg, and the other multi-billionaires who were sitting right behind Trump when he was inaugurated. Remember that? The very same billionaires who funded his campaign, who have bestowed gifts upon him,
Hi,
and
Ronald.
who have seen huge increases in their wealth and power since Trump took office.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, I am talking about the insanity of one person, Mr. Musk, owning more wealth than the bottom 52% of American households.
And they all on
I'm
the
talking
Epstein
about
file.
the incredible injustice of the top 1% in America now owning more wealth than the bottom 93%. I'm talking about the richest people in America becoming much, much richer, while 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck, struggling every day to pay their rent and mortgages, pay for child care and education, pay for their health care and prescription drugs, afford decent quality food for their kids, and maybe, just maybe, put aside a few bucks for their retirements. I am talking about our nation, the richest country in the history of the world, having the highest rate of childhood and senior poverty of almost any major country on earth.
Unacceptable.
I am talking about our great nation, having 85 million Americans uninsured or underinsured, and 800,000 people who are homeless, including people a few blocks from here. All the while Mr. Musk is on his way
to becoming a trillionaire. I am talking about the incredible danger of the richest people in the country pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into artificial intelligence and robotics, which in the next decade will decimate tens of millions of jobs for the American working class.
They're trying to replace us.
I'm talking about a billionaire class who believe that they have the divine right to rule, and who not only want massive tax breaks for themselves, but who reject any form of accountability or checks on their power. My fellow Americans, we rejected the divine right of kings in the 1770s. We will not accept the divine right of oligarchs today. And now let's take a look, brief look, at where we are today. Where we are today on the 18th day of a government shutdown, which is depriving millions of federal employees of the paychecks they desperately need and deserve. Let me cut to the chase and tell you exactly what this shutdown is all about.
Let's go.
As a result of Trump's big, beautiful, disgraceful bill, which made massive cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, 15 million low-income and working-class Americans are going to lose the health care they desperately need to stay alive. And my friends, studies suggest
population
that
control.
we throw those 15 million people off of the health care they presently have. 50,000 of them will die unnecessarily every single year. 50,000 Americans
listen to what you good ear.
unnecessarily every single year. But that's not all. As a result of that same terrible piece of legislation, over 20 million Americans are going to see on average a doubling of their health insurance premiums through the Affordable Care Act. In my state of Vermont just the other day, people received notices from insurance companies that their health care premiums in some cases would triple or quadruple. And that is going on all over the country. At a time when we already pay, by far, the highest prices in the world for health care, millions of Americans are going to see outrageous increases in their health care premiums, which they cannot afford. And why is that happening? Why are the Republicans making a broken health care system, a dysfunctional health care system, even worse? Why are they bringing our health care system to the verge of collapse? We all know the answer. We all know the answer. It was to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, Mr. Zuckerberg, Mr. Ellison, and the rest of the 1%. $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, and the ACA, $1 trillion in tax breaks for the 1%. That, my fellow Americans, is what this shutdown is all about. And let me be as clear as I can be. No, I will not vote for a budget that throws 15 million Americans off their health care. No, I will not vote for a budget that doubles premiums for 20 million Americans. No, I will not vote for a budget that forces nursing homes, rural hospitals, community health centers to lay off staff and close their doors throughout this country. All to give huge tax breaks to the billionaire class. So today, right now, I say to my Republican colleagues, come back from your month-long vacation. Start negotiating and do not allow the American healthcare system to be destroyed. End this shutdown. My fellow Americans, we are the greatest country in the history of the world. And when we stand together and don't allow demagogues to divide us up, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. Yes, we can create a vibrant democracy by ending Citizens United and not allowing billionaires to buy elections. Yes, we can join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right. Yes, we can build millions of units of low-income and affordable housing and allow our younger generation to enjoy the American dream and own a home of their own. Yes, we can make public colleges and universities tuition-free and have the best child care and public school system in the entire world. Yes, we can expand Social Security so that every senior in our country can retire with dignity. Yes, we can raise the minimum wage to a living wage and guarantee every worker the right to join a union. Yes, we can lead the world in transforming our energy system away from fossil fuels and create millions of good jobs as we save the planet. Yes, we can guarantee that every woman in this country has the right to control her own body. Yes, we can have a foreign policy that guarantees that never again will American taxpayer dollars be used to starve children in Gaza or any place else. And now let me raise a question that I have been asked over and over again. You know, Bernie, great ideas.
Oh, that's true, but it's beyond that. Now he about making them money.
Thanks for asking.
Because he's in business with them. He is
the wealthiest
a foreigner.
People in America have never, ever had it so good. At a time when billionaires are paying an effective tax rate lower than a truck driver or a nurse. Yes, the top 1% and large profitable corporations will pay their fair share in taxes.
Defraud national debt held. Yeah.
My fellow Americans, the establishment, including the corporate media and many of my colleagues in Congress, want you to believe that you are powerless. They want you to believe that you cannot change the status quo. But that is a lie. Throughout the history of our country, when Americans have stood up and fought
Trump
for justice,
means no good for this country.
have
Oh yeah, nah,
failed.
he know he a traitor. He feel like we trade. See, that's the problem. He feel like we betrayed him when he
When the
didn't get that
founders
second
stood up to
election.
King George, they were told
So
it
he
was
putting us on
impossible.
punishment.
But they won. When abolitionists fought to end slavery, they were told it was impossible. But they won.
Praise God. What happened?
When workers organized to form unions and stood up to their bosses, they were told it was impossible, but they won. When women demanded the right to vote, they were told it was impossible, but they won. When black Americans fought to end segregation, they were told it was impossible, but they won. When the LGBT community stood up for their rights, they were told it was impossible, but they won. Brothers and sisters, they did it then, we can and will do it now. And how do I know that we will succeed? Take a look at this huge crowd right here in our nation's capital.
Oh yeah, we can come together. And as long as we come together, we can defeat any and everything.
Today, October 18th, 2025, there are more people out on the streets in more communities all over our country than we have ever seen in American history.
Yes. You right, John.
Sisters, this is not the end.
You right.
This is just the beginning. Together, when we stand united, when we don't allow Trump or anybody else to divide us up by the color of our skin or where we were born or our sexual orientation, when we stand together, we will create the kind of nation that you and I know we can become.
That's right.
We can and will.
We will.
Create a nation
That's
devoted
when you
to
sing.
freedom, justice, and democracy. Thank you all very much.
overcome. We shall overcome. Let's see. We can do it, y'all, if we come together.
The negotiator extraordinaire is missing the whole boat, okay? And so, Extinction Rebellion, you may have heard about the pollinators, huh? You know? Well, that's just a half of it, as we're losing a third of our species as we speak, okay? All right? If that doesn't bug you, it should, all right?
So that's our the Don Lemon Show social media team out there, and we'll get back to them. They're interviewing people. I love to hear from people. Whether look, he's talking about pollinators or whatever. I still want to hear. Don Lemon spoke a minute ago just about seeing people. Wow, look at Chicago. Oh my gosh, look at this protest.
Wow.
This is incredible. If you want to go and interview some people, we would love to hear.
Please.
I don't know if you can. Yeah, you'd have to take your headphones off to do it, but. We would love it if you could do it because I want to hear from some of the folks in Chicago. But what other stories? I know you're hearing Love for Joy, and we all have it. We're all stuck there. Well, I have to say that I am not upset that she's not there. I don't like her exit, but I'm happy that she's here and that she is thriving.
Amen.
But what else are you hearing from people there? With the sentiment, are people just fed up in Chicago?
Yeah, well, I'm wearing my favorite shirt. That billionaires are the only minority destroying this country. And what we're seeing is signs for in support of immigration rights, in support of LGBTQ rights, in support of abortion access, for climate justice, for healthcare, for economic justice, for democracy, due process.
Gracias para usted. Gracias. Hey, how you doing? Thank you. Thank you.
We're seeing just absurd unity. It's a beautiful thing. And it's also a reminder of how this man, this fascist in the White House, is attacking every single marginalized community in this country. And that's why it's so much more important that we work together. And I think we're seeing that. I'm going to go in a minute and interview a few folks because there's a huge, huge volume of folks here. We had to find a nice quiet spot where I wouldn't get yelled at. But we are seeing amazing unity. I'm going to go find some folks to interview and loop back to you guys in a few minutes.
Thank you, Carlton.
Amazing unity. Y'all hear that?
Because I haven't checked in a while. Just to let you know that the protest, the march down here in Washington, downtown D.C., right by the Capitol.
Amazing
where Bernie Sanders
unity.
and everybody were speaking a little while ago. That is starting to break down. So if you're seeing folks kind of, going behind me here in droves, it's because this is starting to wrap up. But we're seeing a lot of friendly faces down here, a lot of democracy-loving, America-loving. And listen, we've been down here since, 11 o'clock this morning. We started marching down 14th Street to the point where we got down here pretty much a stone's throw from the U.S. Capitol. And so far, no incidents that I've seen, nothing but love, no confrontations, nothing with the cops, nobody fighting. Everything that Donald Trump, everything that Caroline Leavitt, everything that MAGA Mike Johnson, all of the lies that they were spewing about what today was going to be about, it didn't come to pass. And this is why we have to keep telling people from time to time, don't give in to the lies. Right. Don't give in to the fear that they're trying to spread in this country. The lies did not hold up today. When you hold up their lies to reality, to the truth down here on the ground, look, I've had all these wonderful people come up to me and say, thank you. Thanks for what you're doing. Thanks for the coverage. They're thankful for what you're doing, Don and Joy. The fact that independent media can bring this kind of coverage wall to wall, gavel to gavel. I think, again, kudos to you guys. Kudos to the whole team. Just an extraordinary job. I'm just so glad to be a part of it.
And by the way, I want to big up Don Lemon's wonderful team who took the helm in trying to make sure that we all got on air. They're gathering all these resources, getting all these live streams to happen. We are a team. And this is the thing that I love so much about new media. Back in the day, I knew Don and I have been friends for a really long time, but we never could obviously work together. He had a book, he would come on. That was the only time we could ever work together. I always was such a big admirer of Jim Acosta, but I only met him at a social event, but we never got to work. Look what's happening now, y'all. People you used to watch on on different rival networks now can work together. We can come together, we can be ourselves, and we get to do this whenever we want, however we want. And I'm not sure, Don and Jim, if mainstream media is covering this the way they covered the Charlie Kirk Memorial, but they should be. This should be wall-to-wall coverage, because this is millions of Americans. Most Americans did not know who Charlie Kirk was. You know, I'm sorry that he was killed, but most people didn't even know who that was. But they covered him and his death as if he was an international figure, an international political figure.
Right.
This is America. This is the most diverse, largest protest since the war protest, or really since the No Kings protest in June. But when there are protests like this, and you all can attest to this, mainstream media would often not cover them. C-SPAN would cover them wall to wall, but we would often demand, we would beg to be able to cover. I remember the first Women's March, we were told we had to cover Donald Trump because he was at the National Cathedral doing like a church service. And we were like, no, but there are thousands, tens of thousands of women marching for their freedom.
Yes,
the mainstream media made the decision it was more important to cover Trump in church falling asleep. We now get to control our own fate and give you all the important information about what your fellow citizens are doing. Go for it, Jim.
And I was just going to say, the reason why you're not seeing the coverage now, and Joy and Don, you guys know this all too well, is that the corporate media, the legacy media, they've been cowed into silence. They've been put back on their heels. They're in a state of panic. All of these news organizations are being meddled with by their corporate overlords, and those corporate pressures are bringing to bear, I think, a suppression of the coverage that we need to be seeing in America right now. Americans need to be seeing that a peaceful, nonviolent demonstration just took place once again across this country that is saying no to fascism, no to authoritarianism, no to white nationalism, no to ICE running wild in our streets and grabbing people out of their homes and grabbing people out of their minivans. That this all happened again today for the second time in less than 6 months, without the shit hitting the fan that Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, and Mike Johnson, they were all begging for it to happen. They wanted it to happen. Caroline Levitt was saying it was going to be Hamas and Antifa, and they're liars. They're liars.
And it was going to be violence, and it was leftists and people who hated America and whatever.
Hate America.
It's happening all over. Olivia Troy is. I mean, it's happening in El Paso.
There's happening in
Olivia. Monique,
yes, the old El Paso.
Matt Patriarella joins us as well, and Michael Pannone is still here. So, Olivia, it is still going on where you are.
Oh man, it is. And I'll tell you this. What is really incredible in the feeling here, John, is that those are one of the largest military bases in the country. They're here. There are immigrants here. There are the border of Juarez and El Paso. And I am here. You're a congresswoman going against Escobar, and I'm going to tell you guys, it's super hot here, so our equipment's over here, everything, but we're making it work. She's here joining me. Here she is. I'm going to give her the mic. And you guys can talk to her.
We're cutting out. Yeah, we don't have a good signal for you, Olivia. We don't have a good signal, unfortunately. Try to see if you can get closer to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, let's see now. Let's see.
Okay, we'll try that.
You sound good. You sound good.
You sound good now.
We hear you. Yeah, we hear you.
Ask Veronica a question.
Yes. First.
We're trying to hear her.
No, Olivia, you can't. There, we can't hear Olivia. Yeah. Okay, Olivia, we'll try again. Maybe
we're gonna try again.
This is like when I watch Slow Horses. I want to put the subtitles on. You know what I mean? Because I can't understand those Brits talking. I just can't. So
also, by the way, guys, you need to know that the people on the West Coast have finally awakened out of their beauty Hollywood sleep. From Los Angeles, my former colleague Nick Valencia is at a protest. Nick, you're in LA. Where are you? What are you seeing?
Oh man, I guess I need to be still sleeping because I need a lot more beauty for these beautiful people here in LA. Everyone's got that golden color to their skin here. It's a party-like atmosphere. We're seeing kind of like the similar elements. I'm talking to you, and I just, out of the corner of my eye, I see these inflatables that we saw in Portland. It's really a jubilant atmosphere and environment. Can you guys hear me okay? Are you guys?
We can.
You guys, my audio right? All right, awesome.
You sound great, Nick.
I want to start talking to some people and ask them why they decided to show up here, because we've seen everyone from local unions out here organizing their folks. That's who you're seeing in the yellow vests behind me, to just everyday citizens, people in Dodgers gear. They're celebrating that big win yesterday, but that's not keeping them from showing up here on the streets, because this is where it all started, not just for myself, but really for one of the, flashpoints for the national movement. We saw what happened here on the streets of LA the first week of June, those ICE raids that have just taken storm all across a lot of democratic cities in the United States, places like Chicago, which is where you're really familiar with, Don, and out here in LA. But let's talk to these people here. Hey, man, how are you? We're live streaming right now with Don Lemon. Hey, what brought you guys out here today? Yeah, and it's a party-like atmosphere. I mean, there's no, no one's aggressive out here. Everyone's really happy. I haven't seen anything but smiles out here. Yeah, we're live streaming right now. We're live streaming.
We can't hear them.
No, you can't hear them. Got it. Okay.
All
right, got it. Cool. You can hear me, but you can't hear them. No problem. Well, that's just one of the union organizers. Behind me, you see this rig that's going to be going through the streets. Things don't get started here, Don, Joy, and Jim, until about 15, 30 minutes from now. But there's already hundreds of people out here in the streets. You see these flags here were a big, they were a big kind of emblem that we saw throughout the course of these protests. Half Mexican, half American flags, showing the unity here on the streets. A lot of people take exception with that, but that, growing up in Los Angeles, we saw that on the streets all the time. People really prideful from where they're from. That doesn't mean that they're hateful of being American. It just means they love their culture and they love where they're from. And that's all part of being out here. You see people with Mexico tank tops on, people with American liberty, red, white, and blue stuff. It's a really big party-like atmosphere, guys.
How many people are they expecting, estimating?
Tens of thousands. It's so hard to put an estimate on things. We've seen estimates of more than 100,000 people in the streets. I mean, there's pockets of demonstrations planned.
Hold on, y'all. And get some juice.
All across the county, from Long Beach, to the West Coast, by the beach, all the way out here in downtown LA. It's been.
But we got it covered.
There's an arm bug.
Let's count the smiles.
What do you want? 2, 3.
Amazon.
Yes.
And things are going to be getting started in a little while. I'm here because my daughter is in a big audition. She told me if I said for what, so I won't say. But after that, we're going to go get our protest on. Then we're going to go get a show on. We're going to do everything that the West Coast has to offer all at once. But I really just want to first say and agree with each of you who's been talking about the difference between mainstream media and what people are doing, and the fact that given this event and given, frankly, our citizenry the coverage that we deserve.
From prison, and he seems that he may be using the government shutdown as cover to engage in his most heinous acts, including potentially pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell or commuting her sentence. There have been a number of Donald Trump moving closer to either pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell or giving her a commutation and releasing her from prison, and he seems that he may be using the government shutdown as cover to engage in his most heinous acts, including potentially pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell or commuting her sentence. There have been a number of events just over the past week that raise major red flags here about what's really going on. You put it all together, and I think you can come to the same conclusion that I have. Let's just put all of this together. On Friday, Donald Trump pardoned George Santos, who was sentenced to 87 months in prison for wire fraud and aggravated theft. Just to remind you, Santos pled guilty to filing fraudulent FEC reports, embezzling funds from campaign donors, stealing identities, and then swiping people's credit cards or charging those credit cards without authorization and consent, obtaining unemployment benefits through fraud, and lying on reports to the U.S. House of Representatives. Donald Trump put out a social media post saying that as long as you support me and always vote Republican, you can get a pardon or a commutation, and that Santos would be released immediately. Why am I talking about George Santos? Because Donald Trump is trying to prime the public, prepare the public to get used to this flurry of pardons and commutations that are going to take place. As I put in a social media post, Santos is the appetizer, just getting ready for the ultimate pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell. I think in many ways, the point of pardoning Santos, more than anything in addition to just giving another FU to our justice system, is to start moving in the direction of that pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me remind you of some other events that went down this week. The yacht once owned by Ghislaine Maxwell's father caught fire and was largely destroyed in Washington, D.C. It was called the Lady Ghislaine, and this was owned by Robert Maxwell, who died on the boat in 1991. If you want to see the shady connections here as well, that boat was then subsequently purchased by Rupert Murdoch's ex-wife, Anna Murdoch Mann, and who the Murdochs owned that boat. The death, by the way, of Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert, in 1991 was under very suspicious circumstances. He was allegedly peeing naked off the side of the boat and then fell over, I guess was the official story. It was then determined that he engaged in a massive fraud and embezzlement scheme of his companies, quite literally stealing from his employees. He then, and the Maxwell name was then tainted in other disgrace. That's when Ghislaine tried to reinvent herself with Jeffrey Epstein. And actually, Donald Trump, one of the first times he met Ghislaine was on that boat of Robert Maxwell. So the story and reporting is this yacht that was built in 1986 caught on fire mysteriously this week. The firefighters discovered an electrical fire in the upper deck, and this boat was docked in Washington, D.C., very suspiciously as well. Firefighters were dispatched and put out the fire on that boat named Lady Ghislaine. Also, what other data points did we learn this week? Well, not just in addition to Lady Ghislaine, Ghislaine Maxwell, remember she was moved from that Tallahassee maximum security prison because she was convicted of child sex trafficking, where she's supposed to rot in prison for 20 years for being one of the ringleaders of this massive sex trafficking, child trafficking ring. She was moved to Camp Bryan, this minimum security facility in Texas. Donald Trump gave the sex trafficker an exemption from the Bureau of Prisons because she's not allowed to be in a minimum security facility in Camp Bryan for crimes that are usually more financial in nature or smaller crimes. She was moved there, as we all know. It's right by the Texas A&M University as well. But over the past week, we've seen that mysterious visitors have been going into Ghislaine Maxwell's prison to meet with Ghislaine, which then would cause the entire prison to go into lockdown mode. The inmates who thought they were going to a minimum security facility, they're complaining that she's getting preferential treatment within the minimum security facility. They're like, this is a minimum security facility. You've already moved in a child sex trafficker here. We don't want to bring our children around her. This is supposed to be a family-friendly minimum security facility. We work with students at Texas A&M and the criminal justice system for restorative justice programs. Why the hell are you bringing a convicted sex trafficker in the first place into this minimum security facility?
Fact.
And beyond that, mysterious guests caught on fire mysteriously this week. The firefighters discovered an electrical fire in the upper deck, and this boat was docked in Washington, D.C., very suspiciously as well. Firefighters were dispatched and put out the fire on that boat named Lady Ghislaine. Also, what other data points did we learn this week? Well, not just in addition to Lady Ghislaine, very suspiciously as well. Firefighters were dispatched and put out the fire on that boat named Lady Ghislaine. Also, what other data points did we learn this week? Well, not just in addition to Lady Ghislaine Maxwell, remember she was moved from that Tallahassee maximum security prison because she was convicted of child sex trafficking, where she's supposed to rot in prison for 20 years for being one of the ringleaders of this massive sex trafficking, child trafficking ring. She was moved to Camp Bryan, this minimum security facility in Texas. Donald Trump gave the sex trafficker an exemption from the
Y'all hit the like button for me, please. Yeah, he's going to try not pardon her that what he did to the Santos.
Usually more financial
commute her time.
Smaller crimes. She was moved there, as we all know. It's right by the Texas A&M University as well. But over the past week, we've seen that mysterious visitors have been going into Ghislaine Maxwell's prison to meet with Ghislaine, which then would cause the entire prison to go into lockdown mode. The inmates who thought they were going to a minimum security facility, they're complaining that she's getting preferential treatment within the minimum security facility. They're like, this is a minimum security facility. You've already moved in a child sex trafficker here. We don't want to bring our children around her. This is supposed to be a family-friendly minimum security facility. We work with students at Texas A&M and the criminal justice system for restorative justice programs. Why the hell are you bringing a convicted sex trafficker in the first place into this minimum security facility? Then beyond that, mysterious guests, had Wall Street Journal first reported it, they would shut down the prison so she can have these secret meetings with secret people. Nobody knows who these secret people are that are meeting with her. She's obviously preparing for something right here. And another observer said that she's being treated like a guest in a 5-star hotel. They're treating her like some VIP in a VIP hotel, prison experts have been saying.
Oh, wow.
The Spedience Gym Monster.
So she got a postopedic beds.
Ever have one of those days where you're juggling 1,000 things, and by the time the sun goes down, the last thing you want is a hangover the next morning? Same here. It's low calorie, low sugar. Even better. Willie's sold out 3 times.
I remember this follows the United States Supreme Court rejecting her final appeal to the Supreme Court on her case.
So now he's finna commute her time.
The Trump regime is treating her like a VIP superstar.
And I hope they impeach him.
What happens next, because she obviously knows what Donald Trump was up to. She obviously knows about his dark past. They were close friends, as close as can be. She's on emails that Bloomberg discovered, 19,000 emails, where she talks about a very shady real estate transaction that Donald Trump, this was part of the falling out between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein in 2004, 2005. This healthcare executive guy in West Palm Beach was supposed to, in a foreclosure, set it up so that Epstein was going to buy the house for like 30 million, 35 million. Then Trump and the guy set it up so Trump bought it for 45 million.
We need to make it clear to Trump, whether he pardoned her, commute her time or what, we still want the Epstein files. That's not going to stop us from wanting the Epstein files. Let's be clear. We still want them. And then we want them brought up on state charges where nobody can commute their time or pardon them or do any of that type of stuff. That's why it went from pardon to commute. Yeah. They was figuring out a way to go around it.
Then about 3 or 4 years later, Trump sold that same property for like $90 million to a Russian oligarch who then
basically destroyed the home after buying it. There were some who suspected, I don't know, I'm just saying, I don't know. There were some who suspected, could it be a money laundering scheme?
Absolutely.
What the hell could have happened? No one ever got to the bottom of it. But there are emails between Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein that were discovered, which totally also shows that Ghislaine was lying when she met with the DOJ, Donald Trump's former criminal defense lawyer turned number 2 at the DOJ, Todd Blanche, was like, I don't know much about it. You were talking about Trump like in 2007, 2008 emails about that real estate transaction. That real estate transaction pissed Jeffrey Epstein off because Epstein thought he was going to buy it for $35 million. And then Epstein started threatening Trump over that transaction. And then many people believe, or some people believe, was it then that Donald Trump basically became, was he an informant, or did he tip
became an
off
informant.
the FBI and let them, or the local police authorities, to let them know what he knew about Epstein, because he and Epstein hung out. He said he was a great guy. Epstein sex trafficked from Mar-a-Lago girls like Virginia Giuffre, and in like a bad way was Trump like then telling on Epstein to help himself because Epstein knew about the transaction over that real estate deal. In any event, a lot of developments this week, and may I remind you that a few weeks back, when Donald Trump's press secretary, chief propagandist Caroline Leavitt, was asked about clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell, she didn't deny that this is what Donald Trump was thinking about. Here, play this clip.
Today, the Supreme Court declined to hear Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal. Will Trump rule out granting her clemency? Is that something the White House is considering?
It's not something I've heard discussed, and we don't comment on clemency requests that may or may not have been made, but I'm certainly not tracking that one at this point in time.
I would also like to remind you that we're in this government shutdown. One of the reasons is because Donald Trump does not want Congress to go back into session. He's ordered, MAGA Mike, do not speak to Democrats, yet alone negotiate with Democrats, because if Congress goes back into session, then Adelita Grijalva, the congresswoman-elect from Arizona's 7th Congressional District, would be sworn in as a member of Congress. She would become the 218th signature on that discharge petition to release the Epstein files, all of it. Trump and MAGA Mike are terrified of it. So in addition to wanting to rip away your health care, 20 million Americans losing health care while Argentina is getting a $40 billion bailout, part of this also is Trump wanting to cover up the Epstein files and not ever swear in Adelita Grijalva. Watch what goes down here as Ro Khanna explains the real reason for this government shutdown. Play this clip.
Look, the speaker was asked this morning by a mother almost in tears, a Republican mother, saying the troops are not being paid. Can we at least get Congress in to pay the troops? And they don't want to have Congress in to pay the troops because they're afraid of swearing in Adelita Grijalva, because they're afraid of a vote on the Epstein files. It is just so rotten, and it really raises the question, what is there to hide?
And may I also remind you that when Donald Trump was asked in the past few weeks about, are you pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell after the Supreme Court rejected Ghislaine's appeal, Trump said he would look into it. Here, play this clip.
The Supreme Court is back, and they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it, so but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'd have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
So I think when you tie this all together, some shady stuff is taking place. The destruction of the yacht, mysterious guests going in and meeting with Ghislaine, the pardon of George Santos right there, the government shutdown taking place, the discovery of new emails, right? As the walls are closing in, I think you see the plan developing, and I hope you see the way I've showed you all those data points, because to me it paints a very compelling picture. I'm giving you my opinion. opinion. Come to your own opinion. But I think if you use the data, maybe you come to my opinion. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Thank you so much for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today.
What y'all think? I think that's the plan. I knew yesterday when I started hearing commute that was going to be the plan. Hold on, I'm following. I knew that was going to be the plan. Anyway, to cover up them Epstein files. Let me see something. And he's mad at us too for the you know, he's a tit for tat president. Let me see.
We have to.
Let's hear them.
These are Wisconsin cheese curds. Bite-sized legends that are golden on the outside, gooey on the inside, and made with real cheddar and a little bit of Midwest.
We have to start to rank order priorities, and this has to be the priority right now for President Trump.
I mean, there are so many places you could start, but it seems obvious that you would start with the FBI.
The FBI, to me, should be downsized by 2/3.
It's an interesting contrast. The Republicans kind of are very quick to shame their own.
They'll always fold. Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon just sat down to discuss the ideal strategy to dismantle the U.S. deep state. In this clip, they talk about the future of the Republican Party, the schism dividing it, and where to go from here that actually takes it to the deep state in a way that it's never been taken before. So let's watch this. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Establishment Republicans will always fight on this. You know this better than anybody. In any fight, they're going to fold, and they're going to try to be supplicants to the media. They're going to try to be supplicants to the media, a kind of Chamber of Commerce, big donor attitude, that we want to be invited to the parties, we want to be in the club, we want to have the New York Times write nice things about us. That's we're heading towards a civil war. I don't think there's any doubt. We look at the indices out there, and these are unbridgeable divides right now, and getting deeper. And the Democratic Party is getting more and more radical. Look, everything we're doing right now is
I
about
agree. They're getting
aliens,
more and more
whether
radical.
They want to spend $1 trillion on their health care, whether they're demanding a census that counts them for congressional races and for electoral college, whether it's the mass deportations that we're trying to get done in Portland, Chicago, Los Angeles. Everything's around. If they don't have illegal aliens, if they don't have a foreign entity in here and folks in here, they don't have there's no way for them to put together the votes. They love democracy, but it's just the math doesn't work. You saw the Supreme Court today. You see these redistricting fights, and the redistricting fights are kind of like the kids in this chat room. If we had enough stones and urgency and maximalization strategy, the 21 would already be up on the table, right? We'd be now executing how you do it. We have to do a whole fight about that. So the establishment, because they come up in this paradigm where the established order controls everything, and they want to be part of the established order.
What?
And we see that we got here, we've gotten here over 40 or 50 years, and we've won enough times as Republicans, the House, the Senate, the presidency, the country.
Your mouth is moving, or your hands are, you're commenting, so does that mean you lying?
Yeah, I just don't see it. I think
what type of comment is that? Did you even speak coming in? Or are you just on some radical bullcrap? What is it about, Edward? What are we doing? Did you even speak? Go out and come back in, please. Ugh.
And no sense of trying to rein it in whatsoever. Whipping Republicans to pass the big beautiful bill to add $5 trillion to rein it in. I think it's the more populist or Trumpian or is even more radical than you can anticipate. It's getting worse every day. They're not being resolved. There's nothing, and it's really nothing to debate. We have this chasm, and to me, it's the issue I have is that the Trump administration and Pam Bondi and the crew are not moving quickly enough. They had a thing today in the Oval, which was great, about stopping, violence in the streets. That's great, and I appreciate that. But we have to focus on the deep state. We have to focus on taking this apparatus. We only have a short window of time, I think, to be able to do this, and we're not prioritizing it, and we're not hiring enough U.S. attorneys to focus on it, and we're not getting that. If we don't get that done,
Right, I get it, John. That's why I went on and deleted that message.
Doing about arresting bad guys is not going to matter, because you're going to have more bad guys later invited back in by these people. So. Yeah, you know who some of those bad guys invited back in are? All of Epstein's collaborators that they covered up. All the good work that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino's doing. It's so laughable. I mean, I'm with him when he's talking about taking it to the deep state, but that requires dismantlement. Doesn't require reform or patting Dan Bongino or Kash Patel on the back after the Epstein cover-up, after lack of clarity in the Charlie Kirk investigation. That doesn't fly. And for him to mention Mangione in the same sentence as Mondami, I think is ridiculous too. One killed a guy in cold blood for no reason. One's just a populist Democrat that, he doesn't agree with. Some aspects of him are radical, I think that. But people connect with that more than the establishment liberals too, for good reason, I think. And, I have no sense that the left is getting more radical. In some ways, I think it's gotten less radical since 2024. You're not seeing the same kind of protests in the street that you did at the beginning of Trump's first term. And a lot of them are dropping the wokeness and, the trans stuff, especially as it relates to children. I'm seeing that being abandoned by some liberals on the left because they see that as a poisonous vehicle that they should never have taken in the first place. So in some ways, I think that there's a lack of radicalism, even more subdued than it was before 2024, when it really got off the rails and they realized that that was a poisonous brand. Now, in terms of economics, maybe that's the case, and Mondami and some others represent that wing of the party. But so far, that part of the wing of the party hasn't succeeded. Bernie learned that quite clearly in 2016. Now it's time to, I think, maximize our own strategy, seize the institutions, and move with a sense of urgency.
Can you give a couple examples of what you think DOJ should be doing right now?
Well, first off, I think DOJ, we got attorneys. I think we got to go back to the beginning. You have to go back to the election. You have to go back to January 6th. Look at Nancy Pelosi. There's a young reporter, Allison Steinberg, over at Lindell TV. She asked Nancy Pelosi a question today about January 6th, about the National Guard, and Nancy Pelosi turned around, screamed at her from a few feet away, "Shut up! How can you ask that?" They're so sensitive about January 6th, so you got to go back to the stolen election of 2020. You've got to go back to January 6th. You have to take the whole continuum. You have to go back to the whole thing on Crossfire Hurricane. You have to adjudicate everything they did, and we have to do it in public. Even throwing the pandemic in there, and the response, the Summer of Love, all of it. If to keep this republic and keep it as a constitutional republic, we have to be fair about this. We have to be transparent about it. We have to adjudicate it by the rule of law, but it has to be done. And you see we're making some progress. You got Comey with a couple of charges on appetizer, John Bolton, maybe with a couple, Letitia James, but it's not good enough and it's not fast enough. And the only way we're going to solve this is U.S. attorneys. I think we're 25 or 30 short is what I'm hearing. There's just some sort of backlog. And you can't depend on a Halligan coming out of nowhere and being able to drop a couple right away. We have to take apart the deep state. We have to do it now in every aspect that's happened over the last couple of years. Okay, there's plenty of U.S. attorneys that could take down Brennan, take down Comey, take down others involved in the Russiagate nonsense. That is true. I'm with them on the general sense of this, but there's a clear desire not to do this for the most part. I'll give Trump credit for giving a perjury charge to Comey. I don't know if he's going to get taken out because of that or anything, but hey, I guess that's something. But I'm sorry, this is too little too late when the American people don't trust the FBI. He mentioned January 6th. Yeah, we know there were tons of federal informants and instigators there urging people to go into the Capitol. We still don't have answers on the pipe bombs that were left there. All this is so duplicitous, and I'm sorry, if you apprehend those people and charge them for crimes, it's not the same as going after innocent dissidents that didn't cause crimes, that didn't, instigate these ridiculous facades, especially those that were the Whitmer entrapment scheme, January 6th, which they ran with as an insurrection, Russiagate, all of these things that caused immense damages to peoples and persons. The Summer of Love, like he talks about, the protests that caused millions of dollars of damage, where there were stand-down orders all across the United States. Those people need to be taken down, not necessarily by the feds. Sometimes the feds don't have jurisdiction in all those things. But the feds are not going to eliminate their own power. They're not going to reform. It's never going to be the case. It's going to take localities to push back against the feds to really subdue their power. I'm all for eliminating the entire FBI, entire CIA. I don't see that as happening from any administration, regardless of the rhetoric and theatrics. Even the drain the swamp rhetoric, we learned that that doesn't exactly come to fruition.
Charlie's, I know you were at the student action in Tampa, and normally, you know me, I'm running out there, we're at war, and I'm dropping the mic and running around like a madman. I told Charlie before, I said, this is going to be very different. I said, I'm going to go out with what I call the Tampa Resolves, and it is, we have to prioritize everything else we're working on. It has to be to go after the deep state. That combination of national security, intelligence, law enforcement, the Pentagon, its interconnections with Wall Street and big tech, that we have to do that. If we don't go after that and do it now with a sense of urgency, we're never going to have another shot. This is the time we have to do it. We have to make it a priority. And I said, you're going to find out something. This. The third resolve I said was, no, do it now, do it with urgency. And the third was, who's ever not with us is against us. This is the best way we can unmask everybody, because this is not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be easy. You and I are called, you're called more names than I am, but we were both, by the Tel Aviv Levin crowd, we're called everything, right? They're going to do more of that because the deep state is also connected with certain of our allies. You have to go do this, and you have to do it. It's not going to be pleasant. You're going to get thrown out of your country club maybe. But if you're going to save the republic, we have to do this now. And a part of that, you're going to see if you do that, the political, the escalating political violence of the more and more radical left, and quite frankly,
a lot of this is our fault, we the people, because we should have been protesting seriously when and a convicted felon of 34 counts was put into office. He should not have been able to even run. And see, what happened is they tried the system. They tried it to see what type of pushback they were going to get, what type of protest they were going to get. And each time he tried something, he got away with it. And nobody had a voice. Nobody questioned it. They just looked over it, bypassed it like, oh, it's normal. Like anybody could do it. Somebody black, Hispanic, somebody could do it, and they wouldn't say anything. Bull crap. Why was he even allowed in office? And then now we're going to have convicted felons pardoning convicted felons. And we're going to protest that he is releasing convicted felons. Oh, he shouldn't have done that. That's not fair. It's not fair that he's in office either. Why wasn't it an outcry, outpour, protest? Why did we allow it? It never made sense to me. And it definitely don't make sense now because he's doing unethical things. Well, hell, he's been doing unethical things for a long, long time. So what do we expect? For him to be ethical? No. Now, the rich guys, the ones that are in the Epstein files with him, they want him to be unethical in their favor. rob the working class while they sit back and act like they're doing something, but playing with minors, trafficking, doing all the unethical, God awful, more than we could have even imagined. And y'all allowed him to be in office. Nobody's still saying, get him out. He's a convicted felon. Why is that not being a point of interest even right now? Why? Nobody else will be able to have that position with half the felonies that he has. We're going about it the wrong way. And the longer y'all let him stay in office and not impeach him, the more harm he's going to do to the U.S. He's allowing terrorists to come in and build in Utah, but you're putting immigrants out. Some of them are U.S. citizens, and some of them are not just Hispanic. But you're letting terrorists in. Now, wait a minute. Aren't the people, Qatar, aren't they foreigners? Are they going through the proper chain a process to come in and work and build on U.S. soil? Y'all, we are losing it. I'm telling you.
More and more of the central apparatus of the Democratic Party is going to be gutted. And that's why I think, President Trump, I know wants to focus. Todd Blanche talked about it today in the Oval Office. It has to happen. And it's only going to happen, I think, if people like you and myself and some others keep saying, hey, guys, I understand you got 1,000 things you're working on, but we have to start to rank order priorities. And this has to be the priority right now for President Trump.
I highly recommend you partner with Elon Musk on Project Colossus before it's too late. What's Project Colossus? Well, according to Elon, it's the most powerful supercomputer of any kind in the world.
How they put that commercial
I'm here
in
at Hyperloop Plaza,
on Midas?
just outside of
You
Austin,
see how they do
Texas.
that? No, sir. No, sir.
And I agree with them. It's not going to be easy. It's never easy to take it to the reins of power and try to dismantle these institutions like the FBI, etc. But guess what makes that less easy? Guess what makes that very, very hard, Steve? It's when you pat Kash Patel and Dan Bongino on the back for what they've done at the FBI. Nothing has taken away from Trump's own base, his support base, in supporting Trump than the cover-up of the Epstein story, both of which participated in that nonsense, giving contradictory tales of what does and does not exist, showed blatant hypocrisy before this Trump term, and now in this Trump term, and how they're relating to that and covering that issue. And, Trump was supposed to bring transparency to this case. Remember that? Just reveal everything. Kash Patel even had the idea of creating, a declassification office within the FBI to just keep spitting out files and information. I'm sorry, that hasn't been the case. So when he compliments Dan Bongino and Kash Patel for a job well done, do you think that aids in what it would take to actually dismantle the FBI and downsize it? I don't think so whatsoever. When you're all for the figureheads, they're going to retain the power that exists within their own fiefdom, within their own apparatus, and that's what we're seeing happen.
There are so many places you could start, but it seems obvious that you would start with the FBI, and we now know it's confirmed that there were hundreds of plainclothes FBI agents in the crowd on January 6th. So that changes. That's not crowd control. That's political subversion. And it kind of confirms what a lot of people have been saying for a number of years now, that there was a fake element to that. There were a lot of sincere people protesting what they thought was the theft of the election, but there were also clearly agitators in the crowd. It was a setup to some extent. Obviously, hundreds of plainclothes FBI agents. And, I almost got fired for saying that a couple of years ago. It was obvious to me, but now we know it's true. In fact, it's worse than we thought it was. How many FBI officials have been fired for that?
No, I mean, you continue to ask how many have been let go. I think a handful. I don't know. It hasn't been enough.
Yeah, and guess what? Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are in power now. They have the power to fire some of their employees. Trump is at the reins of the executive branch. He has the power to confer with Kash Patel on the firing of such employees that were involved in this nonsense, this scheme that the regime ran with as an insurrection, an unarmed insurrection, they said this was. An unarmed insurrection in which the only person that died was Ashley Babbitt by Capitol Hill police, murdered in cold blood over a protest. And I'm sorry, don't call it the people's house if the people can't go inside, especially when Capitol Hill guards are leading them inside and federal agents are entrapping them and encouraging it. It's total nonsense, and, the firings haven't happened partially because of the complicity of this FBI.
To register with any type of head count that OMB's doing, or budget, the budget increase. Look, I love Kash and I love Dan Bongino. Kash is like a brother to me. But they're two guys hanging
Kash
on
is like
by
a
their
brother to you.
fingernails. The same with Pam and Todd. This is why I say the official inside the U.S. Attorney, main justice, you need about another 25 or 30 of these prosecutors. You got to get on with it. The FBI, look, I for a long time have said, I think we got to bifurcate. It's too big, too complicated, covers too much stuff. Like the counterterrorism, you got to bifurcate.
On the Epstein
I think
files
you put
too.
the counterterrorism. First off, you downsize it and you put it in the intelligence part over DHS, and you have a reorganization of that.
No, this is just reform logic. This needs to be an
Idea,
abolitionist movement to
strategy
tear down these institutions, not just
to
play
defeat the
games
US
with moving people from one institution.
That's Bannon. He's in the Epstein files. And after this, I'm going into it. I found a very revealing
On December 14th, 2012,
spot with
my 7-year-old son Daniel was shot to death in his first grade classroom at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
I'm gonna come back with later.
Back ahead, she go to the side. Yeah, up a little bit more sideways shot.
Chicago.
We are watching live coverage of the live video from the No Kings protest in Chicago right now. Yeah, I think you're right. It's a good spot. I'll just stay there and hang out. Oh, man. I'm glad that this is...
So I am going to about wrap this up so I can come back, get a little more juice on my phones and devices. Let me see something right quick. And come back with the Epstein, Prince Andrew, Prince William, and King Charlie, who has told him to sit down, give up your Duke, Israel, before this book
conflicting.
Her memoirs come out. But there's also
called violent criminals.
I wonder why, Hunter. Why?
So, you know, I just, you know, for the news channel that's so concerned with the left inciting violence, maybe don't.
Trump visits No King protests in the media. Why would he come out there and protest?
Talking about Hamas terrorists, especially because he's not. He's a peaceful Democratic candidate. As someone who isn't a registered Democrat, I'm an independent.
Why would he come out to be booed?
People left, right, and center.
Hold on.
But we're united in defending democracy. That's what's bringing everybody out today. And that's what scares them. So my advice is be loud and proud,
having our voices heard.
Why would Trump come out?
Across the country who are maybe getting ready. On that note, you know, protesters across the country, protest leaders are putting out statements.
Welcome at any No Kings protest, whether you're closer to me in ideology or to our friend, former Congressman Joe.
Joe, on that note, you know, protesters across the country, protest leaders are putting out statements indicating that they are going to be peaceful, that they are going to simultaneously protest this authoritarian regime. That's in their words. We got a statement in real time in the middle of the show from one of the protest leaders in Virginia who's reacting to Governor Glenn Youngkin's moves to activate the Virginia National Guard. This protester ends with, "We won't be intimidated, we won't be silenced. Instead, we look forward to peacefully gathering today with thousands in attendance.
He's looking for a reason
to power and having our voices heard." For those watching this show across the country who are maybe getting ready to go out and protest themselves, what advice do you have to them in terms of any potential provocation that they might be receiving today, you know, whether they're in a city with National Guard or not?
Looking for a reason.
My advice is loud, proud, joyous, happy, be all about
laugh in his face
and be peaceful. And think about this. What my former party is scared to death of, and some have told me this privately. That's why Speaker Johnson and some of my former colleagues, oh my God, I mean, terrorists, calling people today terrorists, what they are afraid of is mammoth, peaceful protest. That's what scares the heck out of them.
Mm-hmm.
What they want is violence. What they want is division.
Right.
They don't want millions and millions and millions of Americans, by the way, like Hunter and I, who will be out there, who disagree on probably a bunch of policy, but we're united in defending democracy. That's what's bringing
He should have never been put in office.
And that's what scares them. So my advice is, be loud and proud, be a happy warrior today, love for this country. I mean, that's why you believe in No Kings and remain peaceful, no matter what.
Right, and to your point, Joe, you're talking about some of the language and rhetoric coming from your former colleagues. Let's just play a little montage of the rhetoric coming from Republicans on the Hill.
Should these glasses be illegal in the U.S.? Nobody believed me at first, but now everybody wants a pair. My friends roast.
They call it the No Kings rally. We call it the Hate America rally because we have all the Marxists collected, all the AunTeaFee people, you know, the BLM remnants. You'll have the pro-Hamas wing of the Democratic Party, and they're going to be out here demonstrating. And
guys are playing to the most radical,
and
small,
wailing.
and violent base in the country. We call it the Hate America rally because you'll see the hate for America all over this.
No, you see the hate for Trump. And he's not pro-America.
Joe, you've had your say on this kind of deplorable rhetoric. But Hunter, I'm wondering, you know, once the sound of that came out, a lot of the commentary has been, you know what, that's actually kind of backfiring and is sort of stiffening the spines of Democrats on Capitol Hill. But what do you think that kind of rhetoric throughout this week has done for your efforts to get people out today for No Kings rallies?
Yeah, I think that it has massively increased turnout. It has strengthened the American people against the kind of rhetoric that Mike Johnson and other members of the House GOP leadership are doing. A, because they're busy making up random lies rather than releasing the Epstein files.
Right.
But B, more importantly, they're lying to the American people, and the American people can see that. Donald Trump calls Portland war-ravaged, but cut to a live feed of Portland, you see people in inflatable frog costumes, electric slide, right? You don't see violence except for from federal law enforcement, from ICE and DHS who shoot at priests with rubber bullets. Who are the violent people? The people taking orders directly from Donald Trump, right? But that doesn't mean that we can do the same thing. We have to stay peaceful, not for optical reasons, not
Hey,
because
Matt,
it's
to the
simply the
boogie.
right thing to do, but because it plays right into Trump's hands. Because he wants
Hey,
to
thank you for the
manufacture a
floating
crisis
hearts,
to
Precious.
put this country under martial law. He wants to claim that there's a mass migration and illegal invasion, that there simply isn't one. He wants to claim that there is one. And
He should have never been allowed into office.
And the only word for that is fascist. And that's why we're going to be out there protesting today. And that's why we need to do it peacefully, to show the world and to show our fellow citizens whose side they need to be on when Trump tries to bring that hammer down.
I don't know if we have this as a full screen, but our producer put together some kind of Republican and Republican-leaning places where these No Kings events are. Lake Region, Heritage Center, and Devil
Why
Lake,
is
North
he
Dakota.
coming out watching the
Wells
protest?
Park in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
He trying to see somebody being radical. Yeah, I do know he came out to create an uproar so he could say, "Oh, they're radical lefts, they're radical. Send out the troops, put the missiles, bomb them." That's why he came out.
What we're seeing, Joe, is not just Democrats having issues with this. Hell, not even just independents who lean Democratic having issues with this. These are people that are looking at what they're seeing and saying to themselves, and now they're going to say to the President of the United States, there's nothing more American than us walking around and saying, we don't want a king here, we fought over this. So I want you to speak to a little bit about Republicans, because I know you're a Democrat now, but you still talk to a lot of your Republican colleagues and friends and family members who are probably going to be out there today as well, not because they are cozy with Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer, but because they don't like the idea of a king or someone overstepping the bounds of the Constitution in this country.
That's such a great point. That is such a great point. I spoke at a bunch of the No Kings rallies at the last one in June. And I'll tell you what, these will be bigger. And I've been blown away in the last couple weeks from hearing from so many of my Republican friends and conservative friends who did not go out to the June rallies, who have watched what's happened the last few months in this country, and they're coming out today.
Yep.
So to your point, this is going to be an even bigger, more politically diverse crowd, because you're going to get Republicans and conservatives coming out. Because think about this, what is more American than just reaffirming that basic founding principle that we do not
Yeah, I'll
have
be back
kings in
at
this
4.
country.
Depending on who you ask, it is the eve of freedom or
Oh,
the
wait a
eve
minute.
of terror. Just hours from now, thousands upon thousands will gather in the streets for the nationwide No Kings protest. Organizers say that they're speaking out against Donald Trump and his abuse of power. Republicans are framing it quite differently.
Going to bring together the Marxists, the socialists, the Antifa advocates, the anarchists, and the pro-Hamas wing of the far-left Democrat Party. That is the modern Democratic Party.
They are such liars. I cannot stand
The
it.
Hate America rally is the common theme among all those groups.
Now, these protests come at an interesting time. The government is still shut down, 3 weeks now. Both sides aren't even talking, and now top Democrats are going after Caroline Leavitt for some extreme
They're hiding
accusations she
documents.
leveled against the party's base.
The Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to.
Trump is
They
an
don't
illegal
stand for
alien.
anything
His
except for catering to their
lineage is
far-left
not
base,
from the
which, as I
U.S. What are you
said,
talking about?
includes anti-Semites, includes Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals who they want to let off freely to roam.
Did you say terrorists? I'm glad you said that. I told them earlier that y'all just okayed for Qatar, whom Donald Trump said was terrorists, to come and build a Air Force base in Utah. where y'all homie partner was on the live. Yeah, you and your party, your homeboy, homie, lover, friend, I don't know what he is to you, you allowed Qatar, you signed off on it, for Qatar to come, a terrorist, to build an Air Force base on U.S. soil. So you guys are co-signing the terrorists. You are employing them. Yeah. Right over there in Utah, where don't nobody pay no mind to. Yeah. So they will be over there secretly doing whatever they do on top of rooftops, unaliving people, building, multiplying. Yeah. Setting up in spots, planting explosives. That's what terrorists do, right? Right? Oh, okay. Yeah, watch what you say. Live it. Yeah.
In American streets.
Caroline Levitt is a complete and total disgrace. She continues to embarrass herself. It gets worse every time she opens her mouth. She's lying about something.
A liar.
Of course she's lying about the patriotic Americans who are going to exercise their First Amendment rights.
Yeah, I'll be back at around 4 o'clock on some Epstein and Prince Andrew.
Now, Ashley, I don't know why Republicans
I will be
are
back.
so exercised about this protest tomorrow compared